As soon as we arrived to this part of Marine View Drive, the reason it closed became very loud and clear.
You hear it coming down.
Only minutes after we got here, road crews put up signs and made it official. They tell us Marine View Drive won't reopen again until they can figure out how to somehow stabilize what rain and gravity is pulling down on the route Chuck Gaffney takes to the airport.
You can't get through here like this? Yeah, you got it. Uh-oh, stand back. That thing gets going. Wow.
The people who live around here say this is all the latest fallout of last week's torrential rains, and you see how dangerous this is. The hillside began to groan and crack, and then we saw this. As mud began flowing over the road, we could hear more trouble coming. Photojournalist stuck with this shot, and look what he got. Within the next few seconds, much of this road was blocked and covered with part of what was the hill above it. Closing Marine View Drive is already a big inconvenience for a lot of drivers who use it to get home, to work, and as an alternative to I-5.
If this hillside came down, they'd have to clear it out pretty darn quick. Besides that, it looks pretty dangerous.
Danger or not, with rocks falling and mud flowing, we found plenty of drivers who don't seem to believe what they read. They tell us they've got to get through before the slide buries the road, and with it, their ride home.
They should get on it, get something fixed here before a car drives by and gets washed into the bay.
Sunrise in Tacoma, another day on the picket lines for teachers. They're fueled by caffeine and lingering inspiration from an overwhelming vote yesterday. 93% of the teachers voting to stay on the picket lines despite a judge's order to go back to the classroom.
I would like to see a fair contract negotiated.
Philip Blackledge teaches autistic students at Lowell Elementary. Like all the other teachers here, he knows there's a hearing this afternoon at which a judge could decide to fine the teachers for ignoring the temporary restraining order that was supposed to get them back to work.
I personally think that the teachers will stay the course until both sides are at the negotiating table and there's some bargaining in good faith going on.
Even if it costs money per day?
I personally think that teachers will stay the course.
Sean Clapp and his wife Lynn, both teachers in the district, brought their kids along today. The longer the strike, the longer their family goes without a paycheck. But they say it's worth holding out, even if a judge fines them.
He could, but we feel pretty strong and supportive, and we're going to stand strong and stay together.
While the band played and more than 1,000 teachers marched, negotiators were back at a secret bargaining location this morning. The district was reportedly, quote, not encouraged by a contract proposal yesterday by the teachers. Class size and a district policy regarding teacher transfers are still the sticking points. Stadium High School band teacher Dave Mulkins is worried about what the judge will do this afternoon.
It's scary. Scary. I mean, I think we're all kind of scared, but I think we're sending a pretty good message that what we feel we're doing is really important.
If the world is in a chaos, down below, it's all calm. But sometimes everything looks like it's a sunny day, and yet there are strong undercurrents, a riptide in the ocean. That's what we liken Kendo to be. On the outside, it looks like chaos. But really, these people are complete concentration, complete relaxed state, and complete focus.
Kendo is totally based on Japanese culture.
Kendo is a Japanese term. Ken means sword and do means way. So it means the way of the sword.
We look totally crazy from outside view because we hit each other with like a big noise, screaming.
Far the hardest thing that I do, and it puts everything else into perspective. Dancing at my friend's wedding, no problem. Job interview, no problem.
When you're pushing it to your limit and you don't have much more strength, and your teacher feels like you're really giving it your all, they'll try to push you further.
Took like arm off, fold them in the ground, we do. But that's just training. If I push myself harder, they respond back hard too.
So I was exhausted, and he thought, well, let's put him in a panic situation and see what he does. And I feel like I was able to keep on trying. It was awesome. It was fun. First time I ever had that happen.
As physical as lovemaking, it is a very, very personal relationship when somebody screams in your face and demands the very best you have. It is a very personal relationship.
You're hearing a lot of shouting, what they call battle cries.
So you have to act as if it's a real point. Yeah! Each time you have to put the attention there, right?
Big noise, then you can feel tension in your body, and that actually creates a power.
Yeah! I always tell the students to do really loud from down here. Yeah! And you can hear they all stop.
At first you find it a little bit intimidating, then you get used to it.
We come here because this is the forge. You get hot, you get beaten, and you get stronger, and you get better. And when you leave, everything else is just that much easier.
It's like washing yourself, your spirit, completely with practice, if you apply yourself. You know, maybe Kendo might be for you. I don't know. You got to try. You got to come, and you got to find out for yourself.
Across the northeast coast of Japan, mourning unimaginable loss is a part of daily life. Miles from the ocean shore, we found this shrine on the playground of an elementary school where 74 children were killed.
When I stand here, I'm so sad, and I feel sorry for them.
This man was grieving the loss of all 3 of his grandchildren. Ruins of the school stand as a spiritual relic of the loss, and much of what filled these classrooms was never seen again. And all of those objects are supposedly floating in the ocean towards our part of the world. The people here in Japan want us to know that none of that debris is garbage. Those items are sacred.
They are not just garbage or debris. They are personal belongings, so they should be returned because they have their personal feelings in it.
They say any missing reminder of a lost child is important.
They lost their houses, they lost everything by the tsunami, as well as their children. So even just a little pen helps, and they just want to have something personal that used to belong to the children.
But scientists believe the sheer amount of tsunami debris flowing towards the U.S., which could include human remains, is staggering. This computer animation was made by marine researchers showing an estimate of the massive debris field steadily moving east right toward the Pacific Northwest. It'll take years for Japan to sort through these mountains of debris near their shores. We saw some of these mountains 8 stories high. There are far too many crumpled cars to count, and every day trucks bring more. Japanese officials believe millions of tons of this same kind of mangled debris were pulled into the U.S.-bound currents of the Pacific. Building materials, shoes, bikes, anything that might float.
It was just like I was watching a movie.
Yuji Sato saw the fast-moving tsunami dragging away entire neighborhoods. For weeks afterwards, oyster fishermen like Yuji spotted much of what was floating being carried offshore. And clinging to a lot of that moving debris are the very same encrusted sea creatures workers chip off these Japanese oyster shells. U.S. experts now worry some of this sea life native to Japan could be considered invasive in our waters, posing a threat to the future of our local fishing industry. And it all makes Japanese fishermen worry for us.
The And I understand that this debris are making a lot of trouble for fishermen and the people there, and I feel very sorry about that.
Makoto Ando lost his scallop farm, his prized fishing boat, and his home. Like thousands of others, Makoto's family lives in a one-room temporary house. For Makoto, even where there's signs of new life, the specter of destruction, decay, and loss are always in view. Homes are still hollowed out here in Ishinomaki City, where families and children were swept away. Nearly 3,000 people were killed in this town alone. While officials consider how to process what the water pushes towards Washington State, Makoto wants us to respect whatever is found.
We have lots of memories in those things. If they are found and if they are identified, I'll be willing to have it back, and definitely.
Meanwhile, on the school grounds, parents mourning the loss of their children deal with their grief by searching for mementos while trying to help a tsunami-scarred land to heal.